All right, when you drain the water, you'll need to actually drain it from that butterfly nut right there that's kind of glowing orange. And to unscrew that, you just have a round pan underneath there. Also, there's nothing in the way. So how did I get there? Well, I had to remove this giant sheet. Let me take a picture from afar so you can see it. That whole sheet comes out from underneath. And how does that come out? Well, basically it comes out with 3 10mm bolt items. See those? Or they have Phillips head screws, but since I didn't jack the car up, I need to use the wrench. It has a bracket over here on the driver's side with 3 rather large, you can see, screws or bolts, and those are also 10mm. That held that up. And then 2 of these clip brackets, very, very important. If you break those, you can get those from the dealership. So once that's out, you then can unscrew that wing nut and drain the coolant. That should drain the coolant out from the water pump so you can get the water pump out. All right, I'm going to drain the coolant right now, and then I'll come back as I'm working on the water pump. So right now I have the actual pulley assemble off the front of that. I'm going to zoom in. You can actually see the corrosion and such that I have was coming out. See all that? That means the water pump was bad. It was leaking out. Also on the back of the actual pulley piece I took out, you can see all the corrosion in there as well. Not real good. I'm going to have to clean all that out. But that shows you that the water pump was going bad. So I have that off. Next I'm going to take the bolts off the water pump, and I'll pop that off and I'll come back to you. Alright, water pump's off. Old one came off relatively easily. You can tell by looking underneath it that the weeping hole is definitely going. It's all leaking out the front. You can feel it's not grabbing anymore. Feels really bad. Alright, so looking at what was left behind, what they've done in here is they've left a rubber gasket that I'm going to have to take a razor blade and slowly take off, because I can't have that old rubber gasket because it may not match the new part. And here's what I have with the new part, which is going to help me out quite a bit, is I have a paper gasket, and the paper gasket goes right on the back of here. But how do I keep it on there? Well, I'm going to show you that when I put that in. But one of the ways is by using some silicone gasket maker, which I'll put a very thin coat of this along that on both sides of that gasket. Very, very, very thin coat, and then that will hold that in place when I push that back on. Another thing that you didn't know, I didn't know, is if you can see all the way down here, there's actually a little grommet piece, or for that electrical, that actually clips into right here. So it'll clip into there on the front. You got to turn that around, pinch it, and it comes out, and that's down there. It's part of the electrical that we didn't want to hurt when we were trying to get our pulley off. So I'm going to go ahead and scrape all that off with a razor blade, a little bitty wire brush, toothbrush that I have, and when that's all clean, I'm going to clean it all out. I'll come back and I'll show you how to put it in. Okay, so I've cleaned it off. You know, I used just a regular razor blade, right? Used a toothbrush, some paper towels. I had a larger razor blade that I used to get a good thing on. And then I couldn't find my wire brush. So everybody has one of these, right? They use it for their spark plugs. And I use the wire brush on the end of that. And I'll take a close-up and I'll zoom in there. You really have to clean this off completely. Otherwise, it's... Alright, so here we are. Put a little bit on the front of the gasket, the back of the gasket, and the gasket's sitting there. Remember, this has that grommet I've got to put on, so I'm going to reach down in there. It's right there. It's got to go on there. It was difficult at best when I took it off. See if I can fit this down in there and snap it in there. Guess I'm going to have to put it on and then snap it in. So let's do that. it is. Now it's on. Let me wipe my hands off. Get the blue off me. Alright. Now I've got to put these back on. Of course I have to put my bolt item back on there. It's got to go on there properly. Crap. Yep. And then I have 4 like bolts. One of those going here. Here. Come on, boys. There you go. I got those brackets where that wire mount was. I'm just hand tightening them. I'll come back and tighten them in a star pattern, similar to what you do when you put a tire on. I want a nice even grab all the way around here. All right, I've got another bolt. Oh, we still in the picture there. Bumped it with my shoulder. Still looking good. Another bolt up top. Get that threaded. Now think about this too. I got the part for 55 bucks plus tax. Lifetime warranty. I spent a little more. Wanted the lifetime warranty. You know, 55 bucks is 55 bucks. I mean, if I'm gonna have to redo this again, obviously the labor's on me. But the dealership wanted almost $500 by the time tax was done. They wanted to do the hoses and the belts, which didn't need to be done. You know, by the time that's all done, you know, you're way past $500. So for an afternoon that I could have been spent watching football on the day after Thanksgiving, I'm putting in a water pump and saving myself about $500. I guarantee that's a nice trip to Vegas for me and the family for a day or two, or me and the wife. Obviously the family can't go, they're not quite old enough. Now I've got to reach underneath there and find that last bolt. And that was a little sticky wicky. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pull up the old one, take a look at it, if I can remember where the heck that bolt's at. And it's going to be this one down here. Now that's where that plastic thing's got to clip in, but before I clip that in, I want to get that bolt. 1, 2, 3. Actually, I'm sorry, it's this bolt, so I have to go past that. See, that's why I keep the old one around, so I can do this. Now, I remember having a problem fitting my hand in here before. And look at that. Bingo, first try. That's with my left hand too. Hopefully get this down and on there and get that thing screwed in, at least a hand tight. It's a little bit rough, which means it's just with the gasket and everything, just a little bit off center. Okay, that's hand tight. Now they're all hand tight. What I want to do next is now tighten them. So take this one, and I'm going to take my time doing this, and I'm going to come back around. I'm not going to tighten them all to the tightest first time around, right? Because I want to make sure this seats properly. And again, kind of like a star pattern on a car tire. Right. Make sure this seats properly. There's my tight, my opposite end tight. Good. That one's really loose. And then this last one. Just hand tighten. There you go. Oop. One behind the thing here. Not the last one. Just around each check again. This one back here. There we go. New motor pumps in. So now you just do everything in reverse that I just did. Just hit my arm on the garage door, sorry. Everything in reverse of what I just did. Putting the pulley thing back on, putting the alternator back in, putting the pan in the bottom. Last thing you're gonna do is add your antifreeze. And looking at mine, I could probably use the old again, but it's got 60,000. I'm just gonna go ahead and change it. So that's how you do it. All right, don't forget to look at my PDF for the drawing and the diagram, so you can see also how it all goes together for these parts. 2009 Camry Toyota. Thanks.